To all the women in the world, especially her. You know it don't even matter your age, don't even matter your color. Yo, fellas, I ain't forget about y'all. This is for everybody that like things. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a chance. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind. Just get on the floor like I said before. Y'all remember that down low? Just put a little dip with it. Now roll those hips with it. Pop it, push it, rock it, roll it. Can't control it, I come hold it. It's all in fun, so take a chance. Just get on the floor and do that dance, y'all. I know you like it, so don't try to fight it. Turn around, baby, let me see you from the back. Yeah, I like it like that. Get up now, roll those hips. Drop down, double up on those dips. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind. Back again with the second verse. It's all clean, so I'm not gonna curse. Dropping bass like a bad habit. Love all women, cause I gotta have it. Coming at y'all in stereo. I'm riding that thing like a rodeo. Hang on, baby, cause the ride is rough, and I got my girls in the front. Now and later, just bumping that rump. Raise it up, let me see that ground. Slap it, girl, make it jiggle around. Round and round that rump goes. Where it stop, yo, no one knows, yeah. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll and grind.
Well, all right, y'all. All right, y'all. If you ain't dipping, you must be tripping. If you ain't doing it down low, you got to go. Got to go. To the people that moving slow, just moving slow. Yo, DJ, pump it up some more.
It's off to the show in a limo. Before the show, I gotta get that dough. Pay them girls what they worth. Slip that money under that skirt. Take it out, baby, let me see. You might get a little more lip G-string, having oh so much fun. Playing this side between them buns. Shawty got it going on like Marvin. Teasing me and she know I'm starving. Lick you up, then lick you down. I ain't finished, girl, turn around. Lick you up and down your back, cause I'm that freak, I'm freaky like that. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my
You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, rims, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet.
All right, chat, how we doing? How's everybody doing this lovely Saturday evening? Chat says, did I hear that the Channel Awesome website shut down? Forney replies, they still have a website. Wait, Channel Awesome is still around? I thought it was just Doug Walker. Everyone flew the coop in 2018. Yeah, I think it is just Doug Walker, to be honest. I think everybody else went their separate ways. I don't know that Doug needs a website. I don't pretend to have my finger on the pulse of that business. But I think he's pretty comfortable just being on YouTube. I mean, maybe have a foothold in things like Rumble, but beyond that, I would say you're just fine on YouTube. You know, Doug's not likely to get struck. You know, he's not coming out there with the base takes. He's not going to tell us that 13 do 50 anytime soon, so he's probably fine. And I'll be honest, I like Doug Walker as a movie critic. Like, the more he gets away from doing like skits and shit like that, and the more he actually is just a movie critic, I like him. I still watch his shit from time to time. Somebody says I will own nothing in my collection of retro DVD of retro games, movies, and TV shows on DVD. Say otherwise. Yeah, there's a reason I titled that this. That's one of the things on my mind this week. She said Guru Larry was the last guy when they shut it down. They didn't bother to tell him. I remember when SF Debris joined Channel Awesome. God, this would have been... I mean, I discovered SF Debris in like 2014-ish. So it was shortly after that, I want to say. And I remember he had to basically like assure people on social media that it wasn't going to affect his content. Because Channel Awesome's reputation was that battered at that fucking point. Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold, so forgive me. I'm going to be snorting and honking and sniffing like DSP over here. See, there I go. So I saw this at the game store yesterday. My local retro game store. Let's see if it goes here. Yeah, here we go. Just press play. I like dealing with them. I actually was thinking of getting this game. I heard it's a massive improvement over the first one. You know, we got good old Rocco here. It's my boy Rocco. We got the most trusted name in news, April O'Neil. Garfield in a fighter. Just sounds like a funny troll character to play as. Honestly, a lot of this other shit's after my time. Never really watched Avatar or Danny Phantom. Wild Thornberries, I caught like one episode of, I think back in high school, and I thought it sucked. Never really got into SpongeBob. I don't even remember the name of that Teenage Robot Girl or something, but I never really watched that. I don't even know what this motherfucker over here is. But still, I was like, look, it's a party brawler. You know, Rocco's in it, some Ninja Turtle stuff in it. Why not? Maybe I get it. But then I saw this. I saw this up at the top here as I was debating on this purchase, because $50 is a lot. I mean, I guess it's not in Joe Biden fun bucks anymore, but it's still like, was I really going to like it? Was I really going to have fun with it? You know, whatever. You know, I don't just drop $50, you know, willy-nilly. I saw this up here. Full game download. Game card not included. And that made my fucking decision. That's a no from me, dog. Let's get a zoom up on that, huh? Get a zoom up on that death of the fucking industry here. There you go. Full game card. Or full game download. Game card not included. Fucking why? Why even put out a box? Why don't you stamp it on a gift card? What are you even making a box for? So that made my decision on that. I said, no, I don't. Even if it was all characters I gave a shit about. If it was like every last one of them was just like it was mostly Ninja Turtle characters. And then look, I got a soft spot for Garfield. I know he's become a big joke lately. That franchise has become about as soulless as anything could possibly be. But, you know, there was a time, and it feels like the fucking Triassic period now, but there was a time when Garfield was pretty fucking funny. The comic strip back in the 70s and 80s into the 90s was pretty fucking funny. I remember reading them fucking books when I was a kid. Thought they were funny as hell. The books that like collected them all. And the cartoon with Lorenzo Music doing the voice of Garfield was hilarious. Well, most of it was hilarious. They had these weird like segments of like barnyard animals that was the end Friends part of Garfield and Friends, and it had nothing, as far as I know, and I watched a lot of that show. They never met. I'm not even 100% certain they're meant to exist in the same universe. But the barnyard animal shit sucked. It was bad. And that's part of that Children's Television Act we talked about a couple months ago. That was the educational portion of the show. That said, though, as a kid, the Garfield portions at least, fucking funny, man. Like, honestly, they still hold up. I watch like little compilations of like Garfield zingers from that shit and all. It's like watching like compilations from like Married with Children or something. Like, wow, you couldn't get away with all this. Like, Garfield's a fat little piggy, and he's constantly ripping on fat women too. That's so yeah. This could have been all characters I want. It could have been like just Ren and Stimpy and Rocco characters and Garfield and like nothing but like versions of 87 and 2012 Ninja Turtles. I don't know. Is there anything else on Nickelodeon I give a shit about? I'm trying to think. What else I ever even watched on Nickelodeon? I watched The Secret World of Alex Mack when I was like 12 or 13. Had a bit of a crush on her. Kablam was pretty funny, but I don't think you can put Prometheus and Bob in there. But no, I thought about getting this, but I'm not. No. It's like, oh, All-Star Brawl 2. I've heard good things about it. Oh, never mind. I'm not allowed to own it. Why even put the box out? Why even? So yeah, that made my decision for me. So he said, holy shit, now retro stores are starting to go digital now. I mean, I think this is the only way you could buy it. That's what I mean. I think that's the only way this is available. I don't think you can get a physical copy of this, is the deal. I think you can buy a box. Since Miss Garfield sending Normal to Abu Dhabi every week. Yes, that was funny. Garfield was a funny cartoon. Like, yeah, it was a kid's cartoon. So, you know, you could be a cynical asshole and be like, yeah, well, it's a little juvenile for me at the age of 30 or 40 or however old you are. It's like, whatever. It was a kid's cartoon. But it was a pretty fucking funny kid's cartoon. If you chop the and Friends part out of Garfield and Friends, you got a real banger. I don't know that I'd recommend any other Garfield cartoon. But Garfield and Friends, the Garfield Christmas special is really good. Like, I know Garfield's become a joke, but honestly, Garfield is the perfect troll character to have in a fighter. In any kind of fighting game. When you beat your character, when you beat your friends with like an absolute joke of a character, they get so... I have had people get so mad at me because I love to play fucking Piranha Plant in Smash Bros. Because he's such a smug cunt. I love that character. I love Piranha Plant in Smash Bros. I love how they've animated him. I love how expressive he is, even though he barely has a fucking... He doesn't even really have a face. He has a mouth. That's it. But boy, I tell you, them animators must have watched a whole shit ton of Little Shop of Horrors. They must have watched that on repeat over and over again because they got a lot of expression out of a fucking plant there. So it says an empty box for $50. Exactly, chat. Where could my pipe be? I want that to be Garfield's finisher in this game. He just, after he beats your ass, he just sits there with a pipe. I would have been pissed if I'd have come home and bought this and it had been just a code. I might have actually pulled a Karen and gone in there and demanded a refund. But like, look, I ain't activated this code. Give me my fucking money back. I bought a game, not a fucking number sequence on a piece of paper. Because again, this is the kind of thing where it's like, buying a game like that, I might have a blast with it. All right? I might like have friends come over, we're just having a grand old fucking time. You know, or I might play it for like 5 minutes and be like, "This was a mistake. This was a mistake of a purchase." Like I played April and I played Rocco and I got tired of it. But I can't sell it. I can't fucking because I don't own it because I don't have a fucking copy. I have an empty goddamn box. $50 for fucking empty. It ain't even a manual in it. Yes, Forney, they're selling an empty box. This is what I was saying earlier, Forney. I was mentioning that I saw this game. I thought about getting it because there are a handful. Rocco's in there. April O'Neil's in there. Fine. Thought this might be a fun little brawler. You know, have some buddies over, play it. And then I saw full game download, no card included at the top of this. It is an empty goddamn box for $50. That's the gaming industry right now. Nintendo dragging their feet on that shit more than the other companies. You know. And I don't mean to suck Nintendo's dick, but they are the least bad out of all the companies. But it's still happening. And I'm not doing this shit. I'm not gonna buy shit I don't own anymore. I'm not gonna do it. If I want a movie, I might do a digital rental for like $3. If it's not for free on a service I have. Or I'll just go the fuck to Target and buy the damn DVD. But this isn't cool. I'm going to say this too. there was a guy on Twitter who was talking about, oh, Nintendo sucks because there's no graphical evolution and no online play, which Nintendo does have online play. It's just spotty. And on kids games, because, I like my big, mature, trans-lesbian walking simulators, my shooties. But the online play, I'm sorry, you know what? This industry has not been well served by internet connectivity. I'm sorry to tell you. Okay? First of all, it was better for us when we had couch co-op. Okay? It was better to sit down with your friends or your girl or your family members, whatever, and actually play the fucking game together and be sociable. That was fucking better. I have friends that routinely play with each other online when they live 5 minutes apart. That's fucking shameful. That's a sad state of affairs. And the moment it got taken for granted, I'm going to say like PS4, Xbox One levels of shit. Because even in the 360 and PS3 days, it wasn't taken for granted that you had online access. Like, yeah, there'd be DLC, but after a while, there'd usually be like a deluxe edition of the game after a year after it's been out that has all the DLC on the disc. Game of the Year, deluxe editions, whatever. Once it became taken for granted that your system would be hooked up online, that's when shit started getting bad, okay? That's when, every game has to have a goddamn patch, day one. Day fucking one, patch. Stamping these things on the disc in a half fucking broken state, day one patch. And then half of the fucking game is DLC now. They just hold out, fucking put out DLC. Yeah, when it became taken for granted that your console, or even just your PC, was going to have internet access. Because I remember PC gaming in the 90s. Like I had a few PC games in the late 90s. The Genesis was the last system my dad bought me when I was in I was in middle school, and the Genesis kind of died. And I didn't get no PS1, no N64, none of that shit. But he would buy me computer games once in a while. And I remember playing Tomb Raider on my PC. I remember playing Oddworld on it. But I'm playing games on a PC. This thing, I didn't have internet access. I think I didn't have internet access to late 1999. We finally got some fucking AOL. And those games played just fine. I didn't have to download any fucking thing off the internet. I could just play them. The day it was taken for granted that your console, your PC, whatever the fuck you have, is going to be hooked up online, that is when shit went downhill in a big way. And what did we get in return? You get to race a 10-year-old in Korea on Mario Kart? Whoopee jack shit. I'd rather race my friends. And yeah, I have some friends that live far away. I got some internet friends and shit, and it's cool to be able to play with them and all, but I don't know, man. I'd rather just the sociable aspect of it. I'd rather just, hey, come on over. I'll order a pizza. We got some sodas. We're all going to hang out. We're going to play what the fuck ever we're going to play. We're going to play some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. We're going to play some fucking whatever shitty wrestling. I remember my roommate had a fucking shitty ass wrestling game on there. This would have been 02, 03-ish. And he had one of them damn wrestling games on his PS2. And I noticed that there were certain... You make a character, and there were certain names. There was a list of names that it's pre-recorded having the announcer say, and one of them was Joker. So I made Joker, because why the fuck not? And I named him, the text name was Jack Napier. And I just tell my buddy he had gotten home or whatever. I'm like, hey, pick Jack Napier. He's like, who's Jack Napier? That name sounds familiar. He's like, oh shit, you made the Joker. That kind of fun shit, man. I don't know. To me, that's what it's about. I don't know. I sent somebody a meme one time about like, when you play an old game and it doesn't hit the same and you realize it wasn't the game you liked, it was the memories you had around the game. And my buddy was like, oh, I never had that happen. Because kind of wasted a little too much time of his time playing video games, if I'm honest. Not enough time living. And I'm like, well, that's kind of sad if you never had that happen. Don't you have good memories that got nothing to do with games? Like, I mean, I love Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I love it to death. But I could easily pick it apart. I mean, the music in it's kind of ass. The background stages look like shit, especially compared to the previous games in the series. For as much as there's tons and tons of characters in there, it's baffling some of the omissions. But still, like, I remember fucking playing it with my buddy, and it was fucking amazing. Just having a blast. Before I even played it with my roommate on PS2, I remember playing it with my girl at the arcade in the mall. Like, I don't mean to take a boomer stance against video games, because I do like video games. They're great. Okay? Yeah, and all the boomer shit about, they have no fucking value. That's not true. But, like, come on, man. And this digital shit, it leads to a disposable kind of thing, too. So he said, yeah, we really needed a Amigo and Ruby Heart. So, like, I mean, I'm looking at, like, some of the Street Fighter characters in that game, and it's like, we got Dan and Charlie in here, but no Blanca. You know what I mean? Like, we got 2 fucking versions of Wolverine, but we don't have Thor. We don't have the Thing. Get some Fantastic Four representation in there. I know that game was made in the 90s and the X-Men were hot shit, but come on, man. We put Thor in there. Even back then, he was a big deal to Marvel fans, right? So let's not forget Starfield, their fucking pronouns. For he says, with consoles, you get all the downsides of PC gaming and none of the upsides, superior graphics, better control mods, etc. Yeah, I don't see the... I don't have a PS5 or Xbox SX or whatever the fuck it's called now. I don't have them, because what the fuck's the point? Like, I have a Switch because I like Nintendo games, and I don't even think I'm getting a Switch 2. Like... I've snatched up enough old PS2 and 360 games, and I got a shoebox full of Game Boy games. I got NES games and Super Nintendo games and Genesis games. I'm fine, man. I don't gotta touch a modern game ever again. Oh, I just want to play Grand Theft Auto 6. You know what? I got Grand Theft Auto 5 on a 360. I ain't really played it before. I played like 5 minutes of it one time. I'll play that, I guess. I got 4 on Grand Theft Auto 4 on there too. I've never touched that. Play that, I guess. So yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not gonna buy $50 empty fucking boxes. Like, for God's sakes, that's almost insulting. Well, just stamp it on a gift card. Like, you've seen the gift cards to specifically made to download a game. I'm sure you've seen those. Just do that. And I mean, I've gotten like partially dicked on this before. Like, I picked up Mega Man X Collection 1 and 2 on the Switch. And guess what? The first, like, 4 or 5 games are on the cart. The rest are download code. I picked up the Sonic Origins Collection. Sonic Origins Plus. And it's, you know, there's a download code to be able to play as Amy in all these games. Because you can't just stamp that on the cart. Well, fuck that. So now if I go to sell those things, now half of what's on the front of the fucking box isn't actually there anymore. Cool. That's very cool. So he says GTA 4 is greater than 5. I mean, honestly, my favorite GTA game is Saints Row 2. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not even big on Saints Row 3. I think Saints Row 3 and I didn't play any of the ones after that got kind of a little too goofy. I think Saints Row 2 hit the perfect balance on that. I love Saints Row 2. That's one of the few games that it's one of the few times I completed a sandbox game. Not once, but fucking twice. A couple years after my first playthrough, and I mean I sank hours and hours into it because it's a sandbox game. Of course, I'm dicking around as much as possible. But I had a blast with that game. And then I played it through a second time. Made a completely different kind of character. So I said Saints Row 3 is very Reddit. That's a great way to put it. I did try playing Saints Row 1, but it definitely suffers from that first game-itis, I like to say, where, like, everything it does is done... Like, I would have loved Saints Row 1 when it first came out. But having played 2 beforehand, I'm kind of ruined. It's like if you played Tears of the Kingdom and you didn't play Breath of the Wild, don't go back to Breath of the Wild. You're not going to have a good time if you played Tears of the Kingdom first. There's some times that a game will come out that just utterly replaces the game before it. But yeah, Saints Row 2 is a blast. So it says Vice City for the win. I'm more of a San Andreas guy. Like, for PS2 GTA, I'm a San Andreas guy. But then I love that 90s West Coast rap aesthetic. I may be a little too young to have any direct nostalgia for the 80s. I mean, I was 7 when the 80s ended, so... Forney says, open world games are overrated. The whole do whatever you want mentality leads developers to be lazy with the story. I mean, I could see that, but that's kind of always a problem with video games to begin with. Like, the interactivity of games is always going to hamper the ability to tell a really good narrative story. And the times that you do tell a really good narrative story are cutscenes generally. It's when the game takes the controller from the player. Player agency is always going to get in the way of a strong narrative. And that's okay, because games excel at things that other media don't. And that's fine. Games excel at lore and world building and immersion, obviously. I mean, I always use the example because I'm a Spider-Man fan, but, like, I haven't even played the Insomniac Spider-Man games because I don't have a PS4 or 5. But, like, just going back and playing the ones on PS2. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man or the Spider-Man 2 movie game. Those realistic web physics and shit like that, you know, you latch on to a fucking surface with the web line and you're going to swing on an arc from that web line. You know, just being able to web swing around the city as a Spider-Man fan was just amazing to me. And no comic book, no Spider-Man novel, no Spider-Man fucking animated series or TV show or movie was ever going to be able to do that for me. That said, though, if I listed the top 50 fucking Spider-Man stories ever told, none of the video games, even the Insomniac ones, are ever going to crack that list. They're not. They're just not. People talking about Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum's a great fucking Batman game. You know, it's amazing with its immersion. Is Arkham Asylum one of the best Batman stories ever told? Fuck no. Not even close. Like for the strictly, let me put it this way: would you love Arkham Asylum if you were watching Arkham Asylum? Like don't hold the controls. Watch a playthrough of it. Just watch the story playthrough of it and tell me it's as good as, half of Batman the Animated Series, or hell, the 1988, I think, graphic novel Arkham Asylum. So game. I mean, and I'm not saying games never have good writing, never have a good narrative, but usually when they do, it's in those moments that, let's be real, the game takes control from you. It would be hard to write a story when one of the characters in the story has fucking free will apart from you, the author. It's difficult to do that. Just ask God. So he says GTA San Andreas was the shit. A world so big the map became your best friend. Set in 1990s California. Get to fly jets with you. I love GTA. He says my man does not play RPGs. Not really, no. But even RPGs, I mean, the best written ones are usually, of the choices that really matter, there's only a handful. It's sort of a choose-your-own-adventure book. And like I said, I never said that games don't ever have good writing. I just said that making a strong narrative structure is not something games are inherently good at. It's not the strength of the medium. And if you do manage to do it, you're pushing against the nature of the medium. Video games excel at fucking at immersion more than anything else. Things like world building, lore, that kind of thing. And the narrative doesn't have to be that good because of the immersion. The basic idea of I'm in a certain area fighting through waves of enemies is not something that would be entertaining to watch as a movie, but it's very entertaining as a game. So he says Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger's overrated as fuck. Come on. The cards on the table there. Right. Next, you're gonna say Earthbound. Like, oh boy. Yeah, man, I can't believe it. $50 for a fucking empty box. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me because it's like. It's Nickelodeon. You have a fucking Viacom behind you. You have this major fucking corporation. This isn't some little tiny indie game struggling to get itself out there that can only do a digital release. So it's just fighting through waves of enemies is boring. How about Die Hard? I didn't say it was boring. I said it usually doesn't work well as a fucking movie. It would work better as a game. Where he says Japanese JRPGs are lame. RPGs didn't start mattering until Fallout and Baldur's Gate. Says that Kojima tried his damnedest to make a narrative-centered game with the Metal Gear franchise and succeeded. Okay. I know a lot of people that love Kojima's work, and I don't get it. Says it's a kids game. They're not prioritized nowadays. I don't get that either. Then, I mean, that might be true, but I don't understand that. Like, people still have fucking kids. I don't. Like, and nor do I want to, but people are doing it. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but they're doing it. I don't know. Maybe they just stick kids in front of the mobile games. Let that rot their fucking brain. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't understand it. I don't know. And I don't want anything to do with this industry if that's what it's going to do. You know, digital only games and this kind of. And there's not much out there I fucking want to play anymore. Like, even Nintendo games, much of a Nintendo dork as I am, like, I still haven't bought fucking Mario Wonder. I was really fucking tight on money the last few months. Now I'm just kind of like, and I don't even know why, but something about it just leaves me cold. Everything I've seen, I'm just sort of like, eh. It might be great, I don't know. But somehow nothing about it sucked me in. Like, yeah, whatever. Jesus, they're all playing phone games and watching Skibbity Toilet. I would beat my fucking kid's ass if he was wasting away his day watching fucking Skibbity Toilet or whatever on YouTube. I think I just cut off the internet access. Be like, nah, we're done. You want to watch something? I got DVDs. I ain't even having the streaming services no more. Now we're done. Like, I'll have them on my phone because my brain's fully formed and I can handle this. But yeah, man, like, I kind of wanted to play Spider-Man on the PS5, the Spider-Man 2, I guess. And then, like, the more I looked at it, the more it didn't. Like, I'm looking at people playing this game and they're like, instead of web swinging, he's doing this weird Sonic the Hedgehog boost shit through the air. I'm like, what is even happening? Spider-Man can't do this. He can do whatever a spider can, not whatever the fuck Shadow the Hedgehog can do, okay? Enough's enough. Plus, I also don't want to play the riveting level of fucking deaf black girl vandalizes property. That's not exactly something I want to do in my Spider-Man game. Bad enough you make me play as the black Spider-Man with no personality. By the way, you just don't like Miles because he's black. No, I don't like him because he's boring, okay? If I was playing an Iron Man game, trust me, I wouldn't mind playing a few levels as War Machine, okay? But fuck Miles, he sucks. I kind of want to play the RoboCop game, Rogue City, but it's like, what am I gonna buy a fucking? I'm gonna buy a whole ass fucking console just to play RoboCop, and maybe possibly enjoy Spider-Man. Somebody from my Discord just sent me a Virtual Boy, and tomorrow I'm actually gonna try and get it cleaned up and make sure it works. It has Mario Tennis with it. Needs legs and needs a strap. I'm going to try and figure that out. But then, yeah, I'll probably spend more time playing. I'll get Wario Land on the Virtual Boy. I'll probably spend more time playing that. Fucking making my eyes melt. than I'll do playing modern games. I don't know, Chad. industry ain't for me anymore, I guess. Yeah, I'll just read, just watch fucking movies, I guess. Well, I ain't getting no super chats, and I am a whore. Plus, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to piss and moan about, hey, look, I saw a game I want. Never mind, I'm not allowed to buy a copy. You would have had a sale. Well, maybe. I don't know, dropping $50. I was still debating. But you might have had a sale there, Viacom. But not like that. Fuck you. Fuck you. This industry needs another fucking E.T. on the Atari level crash. Well, that's about it for tonight, folks. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And, Bechtloff out.